Hi guys, so I'm back. I just sent out a text message and I'm just making sure everything's working. So it looks like it is. I'm gonna wait for a few people to join me. And sorry, I'm looking at my phone, you all. I'm gonna wait for a few more people to join me and then we're gonna try this again on YouTube. We had some technical difficulties over here. I'm so sad about that because we had such a great conversation on Instagram. So I'm going to wait a few moments for people to join me. And what time is this? 8 o'clock. So it's still, pretty early. Most of us don't have anywhere to go, right? We're not supposed to be going anywhere. So should be able to talk for a little bit. I think I'll stay on here for about another 30 minutes. And then I will go ahead and end it here. And I'll wait to share these details so more people come on. Or I'll share them again. But what I'll end up doing is I'm just checking the way I look on here with this camera lighting. What I'm going to do is so we have part 1 on Instagram. I had the Instagram video. We were having fine connectivity over there. For some reason, it was just actually on YouTube that we were having issues. So I'm going to go ahead and upload the part 1 as a video tonight from the Instagram. And then this will be the part 2. So we actually did answer all the questions on the part 1. So I will go ahead and answer the remaining questions from the original, from the list that I received. And I also invite anyone who would like to ask questions, they can do that as well. So gonna wait for folks to come on. So sad we had problems. That kind of sucks, right? Maybe I should out an email to people too, you think? I sent out a text to let people know, hey, come back. But maybe I should send out an email. Typically people see their text messages before they see their emails. I felt bad because people over here on YouTube, they were waiting. They were ready to get knowledge. And the powers that be said no. Told them no. But yeah, I think I will email out the link. I just have my laptop right here. So if you see me looking over here, I'm looking at my laptop. I think I will go ahead and email out the link to people because I definitely want people to get this information. And if not, I'll go ahead and get started in a few minutes and then I'll just send out the part 1 and part 2 links so people can watch them at their leisure. So let me grab my laptop, y'all, and put it over here. And I just also realized, I don't know if my sound was plugged in this whole time. Let me plug in my microphone. I think that may have gotten unplugged. All right. So this audio should be even better because you can't really see it in the camera, but I actually have a microphone here on. And I have my Howard sweatshirt on, you guys. I went to Howard University. So I'm repping for them today. This is kind of what I've been lounging around in all day. So we had some tech challenges, but we're back. Join me live here. So how do I send it to people? Yes. Got the link. And we're gonna send it to folks so they can come in here. So I just sent that. Very simple. Very simple link. Okay. So, alrighty. Gonna get started. Let me pull up the rest of these questions. So the question that we left off on Instagram, and I'll just go ahead and run through kind of what I said essentially, but what are the best ways to create content in advance so you stay ahead? So I kind of talked a little bit about the balance of it being super important for you to be able to have direct connectivity with your audience, live and in person. So doing things like lives, doing things like being able to comment right when they comment or within a certain time frame of when they comment is important in building that community and building that relationship with your customer. At the same time, of course, I do not discourage scheduling content in advance. I don't schedule my content more than a couple of days in advance, but I know some people who do a month in advance. And it really just depends on what it is that works for you and what kind of works for your business model. But I do want to encourage you, if you are using a scheduling platform, not to completely forget about checking your comments, checking your DMs, because it's very easy to kind of put your social on autopilot, but the results of that can be harmful. So some of the platforms that you can use, Facebook finally created a scheduler. They're so late on doing that, but they finally did that. It's called Facebook Creator. So if you have a business page for Instagram and Facebook and they're connected ideally, then you can use Facebook Creator to schedule content. I have found it to be really helpful because it's free and you can schedule videos and photos, carousel posts. It's pretty cool that way. I'm not sure if it lets you schedule stories. That I'm not exactly sure about. I want to say it doesn't, but I'm not exactly sure about that. You can also use platforms like Later, Planoly, Hootsuite. What's cool about those platforms is that it helps you buffer. It helps you to schedule on other platforms like Twitter, which can be challenging when the Facebook platform just lets you use Facebook and Instagram. So to be able to schedule on multiple platforms at a time is super helpful. I do think if you're a one woman or one man show, or you have very little, if you don't have people helping you with social, it can be difficult to try to be on social on a lot of different platforms and keep up with it. So I would definitely encourage you to choose like one or two platforms to really focus your energy on and think about which platforms that you can use well and that you enjoy. Because a lot of people tell me, I don't like social. I don't like social. Stop saying that, y'all. You love social. I'm here to tell you, you love it. It's fun. So have fun with it. If you're using it effectively, a lot of people allow social to use them. And that's why they don't like it. But if you're using it, you're gonna love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a free way to connect with customers. Who wouldn't love that? Come on. So that's what I encourage people to think about in regards to that question. So that was an awesome question. And that question was from Brittany Bowens. And so that was the question that we left off on with the Instagram live. So that will be in the part one. And then I thought it was best to just kind of reiterate my response to that question as well. The next is, how important is a website? I think it's super important. I am a fan, as I said before, or you'll see in the part one, I am a fan of one-page sites. Like being able to be Googleable and for me to type in your name or the name of your business and be able to find it is super important in establishing social proof and perceived legitimacy. And so when you don't have a website, it's very hard for people to take you serious. Like, how can I go and look you up and find you and, connect with you? And it feels like a gap. It feels like a gap, especially when you're speaking to people of a younger generation. We are looking for websites. That's kind of how we legitimize a business in our minds. So you definitely want to have a site of some sort. Don't put together anything janky, put together something nice. And it doesn't have to be super elaborate. It can be simple, but just done well. And so that's why I say I'm a fan of a one pager. Even if you don't have a lot to say, being able to have a one pager that just answers the question of how people can get in contact with you, what you are about, and what it is that you're trying to do is essential. It's essential. So I definitely think that's one of the first things that you should do is putting together the site, getting your domain name, things like that. Let's see. So someone talked about how to increase followers. I mean, if you do it the organic way, it's a slow grind. If you don't do a lot of ads and you are really trying to build genuine connection with people and you're not putting a lot of money behind it, you're not doing any of that crazy stuff like buying followers or buying people's time to like unfollow people for you, just doing kind of things that kind of trick the system. If you're not going about it that way and you're going about it the authentic way, it can be a slow grind to get there, but it's worth it. It's a slow grind, but it's worth it because you're building an audience of really engaged people. Like if you have 500 people that follow you, but they're down for you and they buy from you, that can be better than someone who has 20,000 followers who won't buy anything from them or who don't actually support them besides just liking their imagery. You know what I'm saying? So I think we get caught up in how many likes do we have, how many followers do we have, but you really want to think about, can I activate those people? Because you can have 1 million followers, but if they won't buy or you can't activate them to support you, then I don't want to say they're worthless, but they're not, it's not business, right? It's not business. It's just culture. It's just being popular online, but it's not actually anything tangible that you can get out of that popularity. So I remember at a workshop that I had over the summer last year, this woman came up to me and she said, I just want 1 million followers on Instagram. And I said, why? Like, why do you need 1 million followers on Instagram? To do what? You have 1 million people follow you and they're not interested in what it is that you do. So that's not the goal, right? The goal is to build that community, is to build those connections. It's not just to have a lot of people. It's not a quantity thing. It's a quality thing. You want to build quality connections. So that's what I'm pushing you towards. And eventually your audience slowly but surely will grow. You will see the growth, but you'll see the growth with the kind of people that you're targeting. And again, as I said in my part 1, it ain't everybody. You are not targeting everybody. Everybody is not your ideal customer. Everybody is not checking for you, y'all. So just, understand that for sure. So you want to build your audience of the people that it actually is you're trying to connect with. Okay. The next question, when building an online presence, how much time should be invested for engagement when you also work a 9 to 5? So that's a great question. And it was actually similar to the one I answered before, or we talked about or I just said that in the previous question about, being able to be engaged with people when they comment. I definitely think if you have a 9 to 5, clearly you can't sit on there and just be on there all day. Depending on your job, it might be worth it to turn on your notifications. If you're able to kind of use your phone throughout the day and you can get a notification that someone is commenting and you have time to respond, you can respond right then and there. So it's unfortunate, and this is the part that people don't always like about social media, that it kind of takes over your life. But especially for a certain generation, we're always checking our phones every few minutes. We're probably picking up our phone. Do I have any messages? Do I have any this? Do I have any that? So it might be easier for us, but if that's not like your normal routine to do that, it's harder to do, but you do want to set up notifications. You might want to set up times during the day, in the morning, in the afternoon, and in the evening that you are checking those comments, you're checking those DMs to see if anyone has contacted you and responding to them, because you want to, again, build those relationships. And you have to be realistic about what it is, what your lifestyle is about and what you're able to do. But understanding that connectivity is important. I like that question because that question was asked with the understanding, the intention that it is important. So Dee Dee is here, Brittany is here. Hey guys, I'm glad y'all were able to come over. We had some issues. So something I was saying earlier in the video, I'm not sure if anyone was on yet, was that, so the part 1, I was live streaming on Instagram and YouTube was having issues. Y'all were telling me. So I'm going to go ahead. This is going to be considered the part 2 of this video. And then I'm going to go ahead and have a part 1. The part 1 is going to be the Instagram video. I'm going to go ahead and upload it to YouTube after I'm done here. And so I will send out the links to the part 1, which will be, again, the Instagram video, and part 2, which will be over here. So you will not have missed out on all of the awesome content and conversation we were having over on Instagram. So, hey, welcome, Deetra. So ladies, please ask any questions in the comments that you have. Right now, I'm just addressing the questions that were in the Eventbrite for folks who signed up in advance. If you did not, go ahead and answer questions, ask questions in the comments. I have it pulled up right here. Also, if you would like to book a one-on-one consultation with me, I'm doing kind of a Rona Ready special right now. So you can look in the description. There's a link there, and you can book a 45-minute consultation with me. And these are great to talk about digital content ideas, branding foundation, just whatever kind of some of your quick and dirty challenges that you're having right now that are kind of keeping you stuck. This conversation is to help unblock that stagnancy and keep you moving forward. And so some of the conversations I have are, again, around social content. They're around how to start building your brand without a product. That's actually from my conversations with clients and those consultations. That's kind of what inspired me to have this topic today for you all, to talk about how to build your brand without a product or an offering ready to present to the public, because I saw that that was kind of a constant thing that was holding a lot of people back. So I thought it would be an ideal topic for a live. And I know when we do these questions, they're great for group questions that people may have, and they give additional insight, but sometimes people want specific one-on-one attention to their issue, and I definitely want to provide that. So that is why I'm inviting you guys to book. I've opened my calendar so y'all can book some consultations with me. And I love the coaching part. That's one of my favorite parts of the business. I love getting in these nitty-gritty conversations, because this is often where I develop a lot of my content from, because this is where I gain information about what problems entrepreneurs like you are experiencing. So definitely book that, guys. It is in the description. It's just a Calendly link, by the way. So we have a question from Sherry Hubbard, and she asks, eager to hear about branding strategy for online sales. So that's kind of essentially what we've been talking about this entire conversation. But again, those strategies are going to depend upon what your product is or what your offering is and who it is that you're offering it to. And those are the biggest things. I talk about that in part one, but those are the biggest things that you want to be thinking about: what it is that you're offering and who you're offering it to. That will inform the strategies that you use. Now, also understand that there's no one size fits all strategy when you're thinking about branding and marketing your business. And a lot of people, when I work with clients, they don't understand that. They do not understand that. Like, I just want results really fast. And it's like, it's a grind, you guys. It's a learning experience. It's a knowledge loop. It takes time. So when you're thinking about online sales platform, you want to think about, that's why it's so important to build that brand before you have the product, before you have the offering, because it'll give you insight on the strategies that you would use to convert that person from a community member of yours to an actual buyer, right? By building that relationship with them before you sell them, then you're able to understand how they make those decisions, what things are important to them, and you can make sure that what you're presenting addresses their concerns. So when you're thinking about strategy, essentially the overarching strategy that I'm talking about here on this live is building the brand first, building the community of potential customers first around your brand identity and ideology, then selling them later. That's in a nutshell. It's that simple. That's what I'm talking about here. So that's the strategy that we're talking about. Now, once you move forward, there's a lot of more specific strategies you can use around, when you may post on social media, when you may do your sales, how you may format your emails to send out discounts, how you may put together your website, your colors, and all of those different things that will come. Well, you'll probably have your colors first, but some of that specific strategy of how you sell, how you market, will come later. But because you're starting to brand, because you are bounds, agrees, it absolutely takes time. It does. And even me, I'm in that same phase. So I get it. It really does take time to get what is it that people really need? How do you connect with them in the best way? How can you activate people? And it's hard. Something I was reading is, it's hard to get you to do something. So it could be hard for you to get your own self to do something, let alone try to get somebody else to do something. It's hard. So it takes time to understand how your customer operates and thinks, you know. So thank you so much for that question. And that was from Sherry. So thank you so much, Sherry. So, how to get my audience's attention? And again, that's kind of what this whole conversation has been a bit about. And that question is from Nikita Franklin, and it's an amazing question. How do you get your audience's attention? Again, it takes time. It takes relationship building online and in person. It takes understanding what they value and what's important to them and providing that. That's the best way to get their attention. And that's super, it's a simple concept and it's a harder thing to actually ascertain and put into practice, but that's what you're doing. You're trying to understand them and you're solving their problem for them. That's how you can get their attention. But you understand, as far as like specific strategies or language or visual that you may use, that's going to be very specific to the audience that you're trying to target. Their age, their location, their values, their race. Those kind of things matter as far as being able to get attention. But something I said, and I can't remember if this was on part 1 or part 2, y'all. I'm getting mixed up. But one thing that I said, I think it was on part 1, is about leaning into difference. So leaning into the thing that makes you different. And everything in life tells us, okay, we're supposed to be like everybody else. This is what works for this person. This is what's socially acceptable. So this is what we're supposed to do. But when you're actually trying to build your business, you want to be leaning into what makes you unique, what makes you different. And sometimes that's hard to, you do have to get feedback from others to sometimes ascertain what that is. Because you might not know, because you're you, or you know your business intimately. But to understand that, hey, like no one else is really doing it this way. No one else is really doing it that way. That's what you need to lean into. That's how you get their attention, because people notice things that are disruptive. People notice what's disruptive. They notice what's not like the other. So those are some of the things you want to think about as you're building your brand, as you're thinking about social media content. That's what you want to kind of keep at the forefront of your mind, Nikita. So I have a few more questions. Again, I want to invite the folks who are joining me on YouTube Live right now to go ahead and ask any questions you have in the comments. I'll probably be on here maybe another 10-15 minutes. So I definitely want to give you guys the opportunity to ask any of those questions, and then expect to get some messages from me about part 1, because I know we had a little bit of an issue. So sad. Let's see. So this question is from Adobe Weston, and she said, in this time of uncertainty, what steps do you advise to put into place to ensure you have inventory to meet critical demands as they fluctuate? Unfortunately, sometimes not having a product can kill a business before it begins. So I'm not exactly sure if I understand this question, because I'm specifically talking about if you don't have a product at all, if your product is not ready to come to market. Not necessarily if you have product, but you don't have enough. That is a different kind of question. And I do understand. I think that's what this person is more so asking. They're at, and did I say the person's name? Yeah, I did. Adobe Weston. So I think what this person is kind of asking is, if I have products, but I may not have enough, and we're in uncertain times, and people may be asking me for it, I don't want to, as a business owner, look bad, essentially, by not having, inventory and things like that. I think this is the time to be transparent and to be honest. Like and these are the times where you're thinking about who you are as a brand. And if you want to come across and be perceived as honest, you have to be honest. People can see through BS like no other at this point in time. And we've been fed so much stuff. So if you know that you have limited product, this is just my personal advice. And this is a little bit off topic kind of from what we're talking about today, but I do think it's a valuable question. Be honest about, hey, we got limited product right now. So if you want something, buy it. Now, that could also be a sales strategy to put yourself in a position where people will buy up whatever it is that you have left. Excuse me. And then you can possibly use those funds to get more product in. but you want to say, hey, there will be some delays. We're trying to restock our store, but our online store, but there's probably going to be some delays. So I would really encourage you, if you want something, get it now because stuff is going fast. So that can be a strategy for you to sell and to kick up in your sales in high gear. Now, if you know that you are running out of something, you can definitely start a wait list. You can do some pre-selling. So for folks, kind of build up the anticipation. Anything that happens, there's always a branding twist that you can put on it. And I think sometimes when things are happening, we go into such a crisis mode. We can't think of it. We can't think through the issue and stay on our toes because we get our emotions involved. But there's an excellent way you can put your business in a good position. So first of all, you have the aspect of, we have limited product, it's going fast, there's going to be a delay to get new product, buy now, right? So then you get an influx of sales. After you're kind of low, you can't really accommodate the sales, you can do wait lists, you can do pre-sale for items so that people can purchase in advance what they want and be first in line to get it as soon as it becomes available. Build up the anticipation. When you're building a brand around the ideology of what it is that you stand for, right? And you're resonating with your customer, this is why you build a brand, because your brand will survive this, because they ride for you. So if the reason why I connect with you is because you're a Black-owned business and you're trying to help our community eat healthy or something, and that's my connection to you, I'm willing to be patient with you if you run out. Right? I'm gonna be disappointed that you ran out because maybe I really enjoy your products, but I'm gonna be patient with you because I understand and I'm riding with you and I stand for what it is that you do, so I can wait. And you build it, and you can, when you are in scarcity, that's the best way to make people desire and value your product more. So you look at folks right now who are fighting over toilet paper, which is absolutely ridiculous, I think, when you have soap and water and people can wash their butts. But people right now are fighting over toilet paper in the stores, okay? So you think about, nobody was fighting over toilet paper 4 weeks ago. They're fighting over toilet paper now because all of a sudden toilet paper has become scarce and people value it at a crazy level, like a ridiculous level, actually. So these are some of the tactics and things you want to think about if you're branding your business and you do have a product, but it's in limited supply because of some of the things that are happening. You want to think about some different ways that you can still engage that audience through content around ideology, through content that could be comforting to them because folks are so stressed and anxious right now, as well as through building anticipation about what is to come after this period is over. So let's see. Don't see any questions on Instagram, or excuse me, YouTube. So I have a few more questions over here. So Lashaya Richard, she asked me, what changes would you make to incorporate a product or service when in ready online? Okay. I think she's trying to say, um, when you, like, say you're already building your community and then you finally have your product ready, how do you kind of introduce it? So anticipation building is a huge technique. People love to have things to be excited for. So being able to, kind of similar to the last question, of kind of teasing your audience over time to let them know, hey, this product is coming and this is what this product is about. That's taking pre-sales and pre-orders. I'm always a big fan of that. Waiting list, anything to kind of make your product seem like it's in high desire. It's like highly desirable. It's always a fun strategy to use. Definitely utilizing your space on social. If you have newsletters, if you already have mechanisms for regular communication, you can definitely be kind of teasing out that product launch in those communications with people. So they kind of know what is coming, they know what it's about, and then when it's here, they can take advantage of it, right? Or they can pre-order it so it comes to them right away, whatever that may be. So and again, this is why it's so important to build that brand first, you guys. This is why it's important, because you got people to talk to already about the product. You got people that are already going to be invested in what it is that you're doing. So I love that question. And I hope that answers it. Like, think about the tease, the anticipation, the dangling of the carrot. Those are some of the characteristics you want to use. And if you've already been building your audience, you understand kind of how they think, how they tick, and you utilize that information to convert them to a buyer later. So I have about 2 more questions, and we'll check on the YouTube questions, and then we're probably gonna wrap up. Y'all getting a lot of my profile today as I check out these questions on my laptop. So Free Cod, I don't think that's his name. Free Cod asks, what if you're not computer savvy? Oh, that's tough. You have to get computer savvy, okay? If you're not computer savvy and you want to build a brand, I actually do talk to a lot of seniors. My parents are senior citizens, and my dad wants to build a brand, but he's not super literate. He doesn't have like consistent access to a computer, so it's very hard for him to be able to do that. So this is a situation where I would really strongly urge you to consider outsourcing what it is that you're doing, possibly partnering with someone who is computer savvy in your business, making them a partner in it, so that that person can bring their expertise or their know-how with technology to the table. Because what I often see with folks who are not technologically savvy is that perhaps they make the products, whatever it may be, but they don't really have the know-how to be able to sell it in this digital landscape. And so you kind of need somebody like that's essential. That's a core thing that you need. It's an imperative. So you want to possibly bring on a partner or somebody. If you don't have money to hire someone, you might want to bring on a partner who's has some sort of ownership in your business to be able to help you to expand to those different types of audiences that are online. Um, because I think most businesses I don't think every business has to be on social media. I don't. And that's hashtag unpopular opinion. But I do think that most businesses have to be online to some capacity. Like, you do have to be online. So you definitely want to consider that. I would say, like, my answer that I was kind of flowing towards at first was to say, oh, well, you need to learn. But you do need to learn. But at the same time, it's a learning curve. Like, it would be a massive learning curve for you to go from not being very technologically savvy to being able to like be extremely technologically savvy. It could take a long time to get there, and you don't have forever, right? So you definitely want to think about bringing somebody on to partner with you to be able to take care of those tasks for you, and that for them it will be easier for them it would be a shorter learning curve for them. So that's a great question. And so this will be the last question I have that was submitted in advance. And then again, if you have any questions, please join me in the comments and ask, and I'll address that as well. So, last question, and this is from Deetra Dean, and she actually is joining us. I'm assuming Deetra is still here. Hey, Deetra. So, Deetra's question was, once the presence is obtained, then what? I love that question. So I thought it was interesting that you asked that because it's a continuous relationship, right? So the way I would think about it is not like an end goal. Like, there's never an end goal when you talk about online presence. It's a continuous relationship building that you're doing. So it's kind of like you thinking about it with a friendship, and someone you plan to be friends with forever. You don't think of it like, okay, well, once we're friends, then what do I do? Like, what do you do with a friend once you're friends? You continue being friends and growing in your friendship. And so that's the same thing you do with your online presence. You continue growing it and building it. So part of building that online presence is the consistency factor. So there's never going to be kind of this pinnacle point where you're like, okay, my audience is built and I don't have to do nothing else. Then what else do I do? It's always going to be something you're constantly working on building and growing and solidifying and strengthening. So that's something you want to think about. Like, you want to keep your communication with them very consistent through social. You may want to grow in aspects of when you first start your digital presence. You may have some social media pages, your website, but then over time you may start to grow your contact list, and then you may want to incorporate a newsletter into your contact list. so that, you know, on a weekly basis or a monthly basis, you're regularly communicating with those people. You know, you may want to communicate text messages. So there's always different levels of things. You may want to incorporate events. So there's always different things that you can be communicating to strengthen your relationship with that person. It's something that you're always nurturing. You're always nurturing these relationships. Like, I want you to think of your presence as a relationship. It's not a one-way thing of you just being present. You know, it's an active presence where you're constantly growing that relationship. So I want to thank Deetra so much for that question. I don't know if she's still on with us, but I appreciate her for asking that. I think these are all the questions I have right now. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. For no products, no problem. Again, I want to remind you that I will upload part 1. It will be an Instagram video because of some of the technical difficulties we were having over here on YouTube. So what will happen is you'll look on my page in about an hour, probably less than that, but give me a little time, in about an hour, and I will have the part 1 from Instagram on my YouTube channel. And then a part 2 will be this YouTube video. So I'll direct you over here. And then also in both videos, you'll see the description box. If you would like to book a one-on-one consultation with me for a special price, they're typically $65, but for this kind of Rona ready period, I want all of us to get Rona ready. So I'm inviting you to come on a call with me. It'll be $1 a minute. $1 a minute, $45 total. And we'll sit down, we'll talk about your business. We'll talk about some of the challenges you're experiencing. And most importantly, and I don't think I mentioned this before, but we will come up with an action plan of what it is, what steps you need to take to address those issues moving forward. And so I know with these lives, it's a great way to kind of think about things from a general perspective, but sometimes we have very specific questions about our stuff. And so you need some one-on-one specific conversations. So I definitely I've opened up my calendar so we can have those conversations. So again, thank you so much for joining me. I will be live next Monday. And my topic is, what is my topic for next week? Oh my gosh. I know the week after I'm talking about Eventbrite. I remember. So next week, I'm talking about how to select your business idea when you have a lot. See, that's another issue I find a lot with my clients. They have 50 million talents, 100 million talents, and it's hard for them to kind of distinguish what is a hobby and what's a business. And so that's kind of the topic we're going to talk about next week. Feel free to join me for that. I'll add the link to the description for how you can register for that live, and I'll shoot you out the link when we go live. We're going to pray. It's not going to be any technical difficulties, you guys, for that live stream. So we'll be over here on YouTube. We'll be on Instagram too, but I definitely encourage you to join me on YouTube, because typically YouTube is more reliable than Instagram sometimes when it comes to lives. So thank you all again for joining me. Please let me know if you have any questions. My website is angelmillsbrandstrategy.com. Check me out over there. Check out my services. You can also shoot me an email at angel@angelmillsbrandstrategy.com. Remember, that is angel@angelmillsbrandstrategy.com if you have any other inquiries or anything else you'd like to talk about. So you all have a great rest of your evening. Please stay safe. Please love on yourself. Please be patient. We're going to be okay, you guys. We're going to build these businesses. We're going to use this time to our advantages so that we can be hitting the ground running when this period is over. So thank you so much. Have a good night.